Hello, my friends. Let's start right away with a recap of the past week. Foreign analysts have calculated that over the last 7 days, Russian forces managed to seize 40 square kilometers, including the gray zone. However, they have only solidified their control over 33 square kilometers. As we can see, their progress has slowed down while they're still advancing. It is at a much slower pace than before. This means the situation has slightly improved. Meanwhile, Russia is powerless to stop the disconnection of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia from its power grid. We are severing the last remaining ties with Russia, said Ursula von der Leyen, following the Baltic states' disconnection from the Russian energy system. Instead, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia have now joined the continental European power grid. Soon, the power lines connecting the region to Russia and Belarus will be dismantled. Now let's move on to the front lines. Starting with the Pokrovsk direction, the Russians continue their attempts to break through to Udachne, assaulting Zvirove, advance toward the outskirts of Pokrovsk, and attack Lesivka, Promень, then Myrolюбівка, Yelizavetivka, as well as push near the highway toward the village of Nova Poltavka. And there is also a significant number of strikes targeting the Ukrainian forces' rear positions. However, in the past 24 hours, there have been no changes along the front line. As for the village of Kotline, conflicting reports are coming in. Some sources claim that Ukrainian forces have almost liberated the settlement, but there have been no official confirmations, and even Russian war correspondents haven't reported any forced retreat. For now, we need to wait and see how events unfold. All information regarding Kotlan requires further clarification, so we remain on standby. Moving on to the Kurakhove direction, which is already deep in the rear. Russian activity here remains high. Attacks continue on Kotlarivka and Preobrazhenka, while the Russians are also storming Andriivka, attempting to break through in the Dachny area, attacking Constantinople, and carrying out heavy shelling. Ukrainian forces on the ground describe the situation as follows. The Russians continue to concentrate in the western part of Dachne. The southwestern section is still under our control, but I feel it will soon become a gray zone, and we may have to retreat from this area. Inside the pocket east of Zelenivka, the Russians have pushed into the tree line, which spans about 4 kilometers in width. They are trying to cut off our troops' retreat from Dachne and advance toward Ulakle. In the Andriivka area, the Russians control the center and are beginning to move westwards, focusing on the northern hills. We believe we can slow them down there. Meanwhile, the Russians are regrouping near Constantinople and Rozliv, suffering some massive losses in the process. In the direction of Velyka Novosilka, the Russians continue the assaults on Novosilka with a significant number of shelling incidents reported. However, beyond that, they have made no new advances and the activity near the city has decreased. The Russians are focusing on fortifying newly captured positions. In the Zaporizhia direction, shelling has been recorded, but no new assaults have been launched. Over the past 24 hours, the situation remains unchanged. In the Kherson direction, the Russians haven't shown significant activity so far. It seems they have taken a pause to bring in reinforcements for a potential breakthrough on the right bank. Meanwhile, FPV drone strikes continue, but there have been no reports of new assaults yet. Now moving to the Toretsk direction. Here, the Russians are trying to break through near Toretsk to reach the village of Klebanbyk. Fighting is also ongoing in the Krymsk area, but despite their continued efforts, they haven't achieved any new successes. Over the past 24 hours, the front line remains unchanged. In the Chasiv Yar direction, the Russians continue the attacks within the city and are also advancing toward Bilahora. Meanwhile, Russia's Minister of Defense has claimed control over Orikhovo-Vasilivka. However, there is no confirmation from the Ukrainian side yet, so we'll have to wait for further updates. Additionally, Russian forces are actively constructing drone-resistant roads, which directly improves their logistics to the front line. On top of that, they have a significant advantage in fiber optic controlled drones, which the Ukrainian forces report as a major issue. In the Siversk direction, the Russians continue the assaults on Bilohorivka, but overall there is no significant activity and the front line remains unchanged. The situation can be considered stable for now. In the Liman direction, the Russians are once again trying to expand their control around Ivanivka. They are advancing toward the village of Lipove and assaulting Kolodezi and Yampolivka, but so far they have been unable to make further progress and there have been no changes over the past 24 hours. In the Borova direction, Russian forces are attempting to break through to Boguslavka, but for now their attacks have stopped and they haven't achieved any success. Further south, fighting continues near Novoyegorivka, but Ukrainian forces have so far managed to repel all attacks, keeping the front line unchanged. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian forces are only assaulting Petropavlivka but haven't achieved any new successes. The front line remains unchanged, though Ukrainian forces report that the Russians are trying to advance further. Overall, this information is confirmed. The Ukrainian forces continue to repel all attacks, and there have been no changes along the front line in the past 24 hours. In the Kharkiv direction, the Russians continue shelling without launching offensive operations. Fighting is recorded only in Vovchansk, where Ukrainian forces are successfully repelling all attacks. In the Kursk direction, Russian forces have slightly increased the activity. Reports suggest that North Korean forces are once again participating in assaults. However, they haven't achieved any new successes, and the Ukrainian forces have halted the offensive for now. Meanwhile, Zelensky stated that Russia has concentrated more than 60,000 troops in the Kursk region, but still cannot push the Ukrainian forces out of the Russian territory.
There are more than 60,000 in Kursk. In the Kursk region, over 60,000, around 65,000 Russian soldiers today, plus North Koreans. It's clear they've been drawn into the war. More than 4,000 have been eliminated, with about 7,000 to 8,000 remaining. Even with these 65,000 troops, Putin couldn't drive out Ukrainian brigades, which had far fewer personnel, because Russians are not as combat capable, and it was important to show that. This army is not as strong as it seems. The only difference is that we care about our people, while they do not.
And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.